There was once a young ruler, a boy crowned before he ever learned what love meant. His name was Solomon, son of greatness, heir to a throne larger than his own heart could carry. He was wise, yes, but too young to understand his own power. Too young to see that wisdom without compassion can become cruelty. And that a crown can make a child forget the weight of a human soul. Every year, as the kingdom grew, the council demanded alliances. And young Solomon, barely a man, married women twice his age, elders from neighboring lands. He treated them not as partners, but as servants of his palace. Their parents bowed to the king, afraid to refuse him. And the women lived quietly in his shadow, never truly seen, never truly heard. Until one day, a woman unlike any other walked into his court. A woman with fire in her eyes. She was called Midian, daughter of a priest from a far-off kingdom. And she came to do what no one else had dared, to humble a king who thought he owned the years. This is her story. This is their story. Solomon was young, handsome, adorned with jewels and draped in garments crafted only for kings. But the elders he married, wise women, seasoned by life, felt like strangers next to his youth. Some were gentle. Some were stern. Some were quiet, resigned to their fate. Yet all shared one thing: they were not wives. They were ornaments of the throne. Solomon's childhood friends whispered behind palace pillars, "He marries not for love, but for power." And they were right. Each year, a new caravan arrived with new parents, new daughters, new cries buried behind royal songs. Solomon would sign the document. The parents would bow. And another life would be absorbed into the cold halls of the palace. The women obeyed him. But they did not love him. And Solomon, despite his title, lived terribly alone. His mother tried to warn him. "Power without tenderness," she said, "will leave you king of a kingdom, but lord of no heart." But Solomon refused to listen. He built buildings. He wrote decrees. He multiplied wealth. Yet the palace grew emptier in his soul. One morning, the palace trembled with news: a delegation was arriving from beyond the desert. A land known for its mystics, its warriors, and its priests who spoke to the spirits of fire. At the center of the procession walked Midian. She was not elderly, not timid, not trembling. She moved with the confidence of someone who feared nothing, not even a king. Her hair was braided with scarlet thread. Her eyes were sharp as new-forged blades. And unlike the others, she did not lower her gaze when Solomon entered the chamber. The court gasped. The guards stiffened. But Solomon felt something he had not felt in years: the loss of control. Midian stepped forward. "My father will not give me away," she said boldly. "I came to speak for myself." Solomon tilted his head. "No woman speaks before my throne without permission." Midian smiled. "Then grant it." Her voice was unapologetic. Her spirit unbreakable. Solomon waved his hand, amused and irritated. "Very well. Speak." Midian's next word struck the throne harder than any army could. "You are a king who steals years from women older and wiser than you. You marry not their hearts, but their histories. You do this because you fear women your own age. You fear equals." The entire hall froze. Solomon's eyes narrowed. And for the first time, someone saw the boy still hiding behind the crown. Solomon ordered the hall cleared. The court scattered like startled birds. Only Midian remained. "You insult me," the king said. "No," she answered calmly. "I revere you." Solomon's jaw tightened. He had never been spoken to this way. Midian continued, her voice steady, "You take women old enough to be your teachers and reduce them to servants. You hide behind alliances because you fear the intimacy of a woman who understands your heart. You fear love, because love would demand the truth." The silence fell so heavy it felt like a cloak. Solomon spoke softly, almost whispering, "You dare to judge me. I dare to tell you what your counsel, your wives, and your shadow will not." She stepped closer. "You are powerful. You are brilliant. But you are still a child trying to fill a throne built for a man. Her words were not venom. They were mirrors. Solomon felt anger rise. But beneath the anger was something else, a truth he had long buried. Why do you challenge me? He asked. Because, she answered, no one else ever has. And kings who go unchallenged become monsters. Solomon turned away, shaken. Midian's voice softened. Kneel to no human, but kneel to the truth. Or the truth will kneel you. It was the first time in years. The king felt small, but not in a way that hurt. In a way that healed. Days passed. Solomon could not forget Midian's words. He watched the elder wives moving about the palace, quiet, graceful, forgotten. He realized he never asked about their dreams, their sadness, their stories. He saw fear in the eyes of the parents who brought daughters to him. Not respect, fear. For the first time, he wondered, had power made him cruel? Midian refused the luxury of his palace. She stayed in a guest chamber, surrounded by scrolls and incense. Solomon visited her often, pretending to ask theological questions. But truly, he sought her honesty, and slowly, something shifted. He began to listen. He began to apologize. He began to understand. One night, Solomon broke down before the altar in his private chamber. The boy inside the king finally surfaced, lonely, afraid, desperate to be seen. Midian found him there. Hands on the floor. Crown abandoned. Help me, he whispered. Midian knelt beside him. Strength, she said gently, does not come from being feared. It comes from being forgiven. Solomon summoned the council and made a decree never had before in the kingdom's history. No more forced marriages. No more fear-based alliances. No woman shall be taken against her will. And every wife in this palace shall be honored as a queen. Gasps echoed through the hall. But Solomon wasn't finished. He turned to the elder wives, many who had grown gray in his shadow. You were not given honor before. But from this day, you will have it. This palace will serve you, not swallow you. The women wept, some for joy, some for the years lost. Solomon then turned to Midian. He did not speak loudly. He did not command. Instead, in front of the entire court, the king bowed his head to her. Thank you, he said. Not for humbling the king, but for freeing the man. The court trembled. A king had just bowed to a foreign woman. Midian stepped forward and lifted his chin. Now, she whispered, you are ready to love. Solomon did not marry Midian immediately. He asked her, genuinely asked her, if she desired him. She said yes. But only when love, not power, would bind them. They married months later. Not in a forced ceremony, but in a celebration filled with laughter, music, and open doors. The elder wives became honored members of the royal household, free to teach, free to travel, free to choose their paths. Many chose to remain, for the palace had finally become a home. And Solomon, the king who once feared equals, learned to walk beside a woman whose fire never dimmed. Midian never bowed to him except on their wedding day, when they bowed to each other. And the kingdom prospered. Not because of gold. Not because of alliances. But because a king learned that a crown means nothing if the heart wearing it remains small. The wives lived in peace, honored and cherished. Midian lived as queen, advisor, and friend. And Solomon, young no more, became a ruler not of fear, but of dignity. And so the story ends, the king who married the years was finally redeemed by the woman who carried fire.